In today's video, we are going to look at 10 of the biggest free agents this coming offseason and going to be predicting where I think they will land. Before we get into it though, let me remind you, check out W.GG. These are my favorite energy drinks. I have some right behind me over here. These are, well, they're better for you than most energy drinks. They're also very cost efficient. So check out their website, W.GG, or click the link in the description and use code SHREDDER, SHRD3R, for a discount on anything you order on their website. Either way, let's get to the video. Starting on the offensive side of the ball, we're going to go first with quarterbacks. We got three quarterbacks we're going to talk about here. Starting off, number one, Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold is one of the most polarizing players at the moment because of, 14 weeks of great football, 3 weeks of not very good football in terms of the last two regular season games, and then the final performance for him in a Vikings uniform more than likely. And for me, definitely. I predict, I'm giving it two teams. He's one of the few guys I'm getting two teams here because you'll understand in a minute. He will either be a Giant or a Raider. This is completely dependent on which one takes Shedeur Sanders. They're interchangeable. I think this is the landing spots for Sam Darnold and Shedeur Sanders, whether one's a Giant, one's a Raider, one's a Giant. Those are the two. I don't think there is any other question. To me, both the teams make too much sense. I would think Darnold would probably go to Vegas over New York again, but I just don't want to sit on that right now. So either way, Sam Darnold, he's either a Giant or a Raider. Let me know in the comments. Next is probably the more polarizing guy, Aaron Rodgers. The question for him is really who wants him in a sense. And, I think Aaron Rodgers could still play good football. I think it is definitely possible. He's an all-time great. It is absolutely a possibility. However, he's old. That's true. It's a hard thing to figure out. I'm going to go with Rodgers goes to Tennessee. I think Tennessee would be better off not taking a quarterback this year, waiting around and giving them, just a bridge year. They probably should try to be worse than what Rodgers will bring them, but he's an option, and if he has 2 good years of ball and maybe you can make some stuff happen, okay, that's pretty good. That's a good sign. He also has some connections to Tennessee, if I'm not mistaken, in terms of maybe a living situation. So a lot of guys have houses in multiple places. So either way, I think Tennessee would be a good fit for a team that they're going to need somebody to play the position, but who knows if they really want to watch Will Levis do that again. So, yeah, Justin Fields is our next guy. Justin Fields, I don't think he goes back to Pittsburgh. And if you know anything about me and my channel, thankfully, because he's not good. He just simply isn't. But I think the Colts will take a big chance on him, and really a chance that probably isn't very deserved at this point. He's been in the league for 5 years, and we're still waiting on potential to kick in. So, that sounds like a Colts thing to do. Take Anthony Richardson and Justin Fields and hope for the best. And really, it just sounds like a bunch of have fun. We got 2 wide receivers up next. Number 1. Tee Higgins. Tee Higgins is one of the more, interesting players in this whole free agency period because he's really like the most prized possession in this group, in my opinion. He's the youngest, most high ceiling type of player available, being only like 25, 26 years old and available to any team to pick up. I think he goes to Jacksonville to play with Trevor Lawrence. In my opinion, that Jacksonville Jaguars team should be hard-pressed into finding a weapon for Trevor Lawrence. And, there's familiarity from their college days, so I don't see why not. I think it's a great fit for each other. Go ahead and get a guy who they know about, so there's no questions, and you can bring in somebody who's really just simply better than anyone you've had on this roster since you've gotten Trevor Lawrence. You got Tee Higgins and Brian Thomas Jr. That is an awesome set of receivers for a quarterback to really advance their game with. I love that a lot. Number 2 receiver here, Chris Godwin. I think Chris Godwin is, obviously coming off of that really terrible injury to, I believe it was his ankle, if I'm not mistaken. He is a good receiver, but is he a great receiver? I'm not too sure. He's been behind Mike Evans for basically all of his career, and he just hasn't proven to be a great player. He's just been a good player, but there's nothing wrong with that. Not everybody can be a superstar. However, there's definitely a team that knows that they need to get a receiver very, very badly. They have one. That's about it. Everybody else on the team is insignificant. I think Pittsburgh could use Chris Godwin and his talents, the veteran presence, the just having an older guy in the room, and still a good, capable player. Other than his injury, let's assume that he comes back fully healthy. This guy is a dang good player, and you have him and George Pickens as your wide receiver 1 and 2. That is a legitimate option for any quarterback. Russell Wilson can look fine with that combo. A rookie, Aaron Rodgers, that's a rumor too, but whoever will look fine with those two receivers in their team. Jumping over to the defensive side of the ball, Milton Williams, coming off of a Super Bowl victory and multiple sacks in that game, having a great game. His value just goes up. There is no doubt about that. He is going to get himself paid, and that's exactly what he's going to look to do. There's one team that has more salary cap space than anyone else, and they just about need anything they can get their hands on. Milton Williams to the Patriots to get help, please, wherever they can, because they are in dire need of any and all help available very, very badly. 2 edge rushers, 2 corners. That's all we got left. Let's go to the corners first, though. Charvarius Ward leaving the Niners. I think there's a chance he does go back. Don't get me wrong. However, their cap situation, you know, considering all the other things they have to do, probably aren't going to be a high priority for Charvarius Ward. I think the LA Chargers could use another corner, especially when they might lose Asante Samuel Jr. Go get Charvarius Ward. He can be a legit number 1 and just lock down guys. You get him, and if you somehow can get Samuel back as well, that's a really good tandem right there. Not to mention, you've got young guys like Cam Hart and Tarheeb Still that had really good seasons last year. Getting a veteran in the room would really help. And, you know, he doesn't have to leave California, kind of similar area and all that kind of stuff. I think it makes a ton of sense for him to be a Charger. Then DJ Reed coming out of the Jets. There's no chance that guy goes back. I don't think any chance in the world he is a Jet next year. I think he is a Vegas Raider. They're going to pick up a young quarterback. They're going to pick up DJ Reed. They need another corner. Nate Hobbs is probably gone. DJ Reed would be a great fit. And I think organizationally, DJ Reed might enjoy having Tom Brady around and just being a part of that presence. And that would be a really good signing for them. I think he is a quality veteran with a lot of, you know, veteran presence. It's very, very helpful as well. And the edge rushers, 1 free agent, 1 trade we'll talk about in a second. And the first one, edge rusher-wise, DeMarcus Lawrence, more of a run stopper than a pass rusher, but he's still a really good player. He's old, though. At this point, I think one team that makes a really big amount of sense for him, a lot of sense for DeMarcus Lawrence would be the Lions. They are in desperate need of more help on the edge, whether it be pass rush, run stopping, anything. Aiden Hutchinson can only do so much on his own. Last year we saw they didn't have a whole lot when he went down. Nothing that is very much making you want to continue on with him. So I think he goes to the Lions. I think the Lions will be able to spend a little bit of money. They got just over $50 million in cap space. I think they'll be willing to spend some good money on a big veteran presence for their edge rusher position. A guy who can, you know, you're not expecting him to be a number 1, but he can be a really good number 2 behind Aiden Hutchinson and help him just kind of take the pressure off a little bit. I think that's a big thing. Because, yes, you could go get a rookie, but their draft position is not going to allow them to pick a very great rookie option. And also, I just feel like a veteran would be better in this specific position for this time being. They've got 1 or 2 more years of the current team's window to win a Super Bowl. DeMarcus Lawrence needs to be on this Lions team, in my opinion. And finally, this is not a free agent move. It is a trade. Myles Garrett. Now, my prediction for Myles Garrett, I don't think he becomes a Brown again. I don't think he puts that jersey back on. I wouldn't want to ever again, really, again, not even that. If I was drafted today, I would be like, please, not Cleveland, anywhere but Cleveland. But anyways, that doesn't just come from the Steelers memorabilia on the wall, but you get the point. Either way, they're just not a good team. They're a bad organization all the way up and down. If I am Myles Garrett, you know, he wants to go to a contending team. I'm going to give you, once again, 2 predictions, but this is for a different reason. I don't think the Browns really should have to worry about getting Myles Garrett to the team he wants to go to. If he wants to be gone, okay, goodbye and good riddance. You send him wherever you want to because you're not contractually obliged by a no-trade clause to send him where he wants to go. There is an asset available that would be much more valuable than basically anything else they could get by sending him to New England if it's your choice. So that's the 2 differences are Myles' choice versus his choice. Excuse me, what is my dog doing? I don't even know. Anyways, Myles' choice versus the team's choice. Team's choice, New England. I think they send him with a packet, or to New England with a package of something surrounding that 4th overall pick. You know, they obviously don't need to draft a quarterback. They probably would spend it on a weapon of sorts, a defensive or offensive weapon. Browns, they could take that pick and turn it into maybe a Shadur, maybe a Abdul Carter if he happens to fall, Travis Hunter if he happens to fall. There's a couple options there that I think make a ton of sense, and plus, it's probably the highest pick you're going to be able to get from any team. And you know what? You don't have to listen to what he says. Now, for Myles Garrett's side, if they want to listen to him and just honor his request, I think he probably goes to the Commanders. They're probably going to want to get him out of the AFC if they can. You know, the Eagles are an option. They could also send a very healthy package for Myles Garrett that I think they'd like a lot. But I think the Commanders are going to be a little bit more of a, try to get up on the Eagles, and the Eagles are going to be more like, hey, we just won one without a Myles Garrett, so we can do it again without him. That kind of situation, so maybe not spend so much on Myles and try to get it back in pieces everywhere else. Zach Bond, maybe Milton Williams try to get back, anything like that. But either way, that's my predictions. Either if it's his choice, he goes to the Commanders. If it's the team's choice, the New England Patriots are a very viable option. But either way, that is going to do it for these predictions. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. Where do you think Tee Higgins, Chris Godwin, one of these guys, Aaron Rodgers, the quarterbacks? Let me know all of them. Take your list, put them down in the comments. I'd love to see what you think in that comment section below. Either way, thank y'all for watching. Make sure to subscribe, and I'll see y'all in the next video.